asterisks. It's in. We will now call the Hawkins County Board of Education meeting to order, this being January the 9th, 2020, 6 p.m. We get started on time. I'd like to welcome everyone out. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season. Let's get to work. At this time, let's take a moment of silence, and I'll recognize Ms. Becky.
The ones in our prayers that have lost loved ones from our system, we've lost several recently, so let's remember those families.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Board Member Jackie Charles to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Phillips, if you could lead us in the conflict of interest statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, those of you that acknowledge you have a personal and/or indirect conflict of interest, do you acknowledge these conflicts of interest for all actions and purposes of this meeting? And do you further acknowledge that all your votes will be in the best interest of the school system?
I do.
Let the record reflect that all have on both conflicts.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments? No public comments tonight. Is before the board for approval of minutes from the December 5th, 2019 board meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? With none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One opposed. The motion passes. It's before the board for approval of outline and format of the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion,
Second.
we have a second. Is there any further debate? With no debate, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, the motion passes. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Director Hickson for recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. At this point, I would like to have Miss Melissa Farmer stand up if she wouldn't mind. And I won't make her come forward, but I did want to bring the board's attention to the fact that she has completed the Certified County Finance Officer Program, CCFO. If you remember, a couple years ago, she was brought forward and she expressed an interest in doing that to further her skills in finance, and that it included, government, environment, county budgeting, internal control and audit, government accounting 1 and 2, financial reporting 1 and 2, cash management, debt management, payroll benefits and pensions, purchasing, risk management, and enterprise resource planning, and she flat out worked to get this done. So I wanted to bring the board's attention that when she asked if the board would support her in doing so, it was of no cost to the board, but it is a benefit to our system, and I wanted to publicly recognize her and congratulate her for finishing it.
And
And Miss Tammy Gibson, if you wouldn't mind coming forward from special education, she has a special recognition this evening as well.
You're probably going to get in trouble for this, but I wanted to take a moment to brag on our Director of Special Education, Angela Jackson. Angela and I, along with several principals, supervisors, and teachers, attended the TASI Legal Conference in December. This is the annual conference that they have, actually the 30th annual conference that they have for the legal conference, similar to that conference that you all attend in the summer for the legal conference. TASI stands for the Tennessee Association for Administrators in Special Education. And one of the highlights of the conference is the awarding of the TASI Cup. These are given to 3 individuals in the East, Middle, and West regions. So our Angela Jackson was the recipient of the East Region TASI Cup. And this cup is given to those who consistently strive to display strong leadership skills, communication skills, interpersonal relations, and organizational management. Angela is our go-to person in special ed for our region. She serves on the TASI board as well as the Governor's Advisory Council for the Education of Students with Disabilities. She's always eager to learn how to best serve our students and never backs down from a chance to be a voice and an advocate for all students. She also serves as our leader for our First Tennessee Special Education Supervisors Group, and she's also a mentor and friend to me. So please join me in congratulating Angela on this honor.
I think, Angela, I think you ought to stand up because. Very good.
Okay, at this time, if you all will excuse us, we're going to go into an attorney-client closed session over the Bulls Gap property. Please.
If I'd known there was one of these, I would have waited to get this. It shouldn't take too long. There was another one they were gonna do that he resigned, so they don't have to fire him. A culinary teacher, volunteer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. He was, having, unlawful carnal knowledge with
Oh, my goodness.
the teacher, the coworker.
Oh,
But Senator emails and stuff, during work time.
some people just don't learn.
I'm supposed to do that during work hours.
Yeah.
But they don't have to fire him because he quit.
You did them a favor, in other words.
He was going to be in the paper if he quit.
Yeah. Be a good reason. Now, what about that soldier the other day?
Oh, the kidnapping?
And they kidnapped him anymore.
I guess
I guess-
his only crime was loving too much.
Yeah.
She's not 18 yet, but she's 18 and dirty one.
It's going to screw his life up because
Hopefully they'll knock it down in misdemeanors and let him stay in the military. So they have a good breakfast up there?
yeah, Big H had the. I said Big H had the eggs, bacon, sausage, gravy,
Yeah.
biscuits. And of course they had the other biscuits don't have like burritos Masonic and.
I know Susie's probably mad at me, but there's no way I didn't get done until like 10 o'clock last night. There was no way I was gonna get there, and then have to work all night tonight.
Well, yeah, she as well as she's got to understand.
I'd say our friend from the reviews at the 911 board. I toyed with the idea of going to that. When I go, they don't do anything. When I'm not there is when it all breaks loose.
Never fails.
Because they don't want what they do on camera.
Right. That's just like Tommy Campbell was telling me a while back. The school board in Hancock County where he's been going to cover meetings, they didn't want him to take meetings. I mean, he don't. Of course, I think they've got another chairman of the board now. I mean, he has no problem with it, so I think it kind of got resolved on its own.
What do you think was going to happen if they set the meeting?
I don't know.
People will know what's going on.
Who knows? Hey, did you?
Saturday, I'm Saturday reporter. Get to go to the Farm Expo, probably at Bristol. Where our Farm Expo is at Bristol.
I noticed that. Why did they move?
I think it was something about the Ron Ramsey Center. The parking was inconvenient. There was not enough parking at the Ron Ramsey Center. I think that was what it was.
Well, they did have it at Meadowview.
That I don't know. I know they were having it at the Ron Ramsey Center for a long time.
Yeah. I call it Meadowview State Prison because they got the tower.
Yeah. Well, if Sullivan County don't do something, they might have to turn it into a prison.
Yeah. Well, that's a city property, though. That's the thing.
Well, if we can make Kmart into a prison, maybe they can make Meadowview into a prison.
Yeah. Looks like Hawkins County and Hamlin County and Morristown. It's a jail controversy that's been going on for years. And they're wanting to try to build another jail. Because it's the jail kind of similar to what Hawkins County was.
They ought to do like the old days and put them on prison barges.
Prison barges, yeah.
Float them out in the middle of the water.
Escape at their own risk. It would make it tough to get the crown reports, though.
Yeah, you'd have to have a speedboat.
Yeah.
Get out
I mean,
there.
you have, that's we get it, well, we get our crime reports just like you do via email. But Hamlin County, you got to go down to the jail and get them yourself.
Yeah.
The sheriff wants you to go get them yourself. He will not email them out or anything like that. I'm used to it. Every 2 weeks I get to do it one day through the week, and then every third weekend I get to go do that on Saturday.
Sick. I've got a itchy, scratchy back in my throat.
Every time I've felt that way this year, it's kind of passed. I don't know if it's because I've tried to. I like to think it's a moving target and it's trying to stay away from flu. I mean, we've been fortunate so far this year. We've not had anybody in our office to get sick from the flu. Well, in our part of the office anyway.
Do you guys get flu shots in your office?
They do, we do, but I ain't got one. I need to get one. Because I got a feeling that I'm gonna be, when I go back to see Dr. Velasco here a little later, that I'm gonna go ahead and get my flu shot. My wife got a flu shot and she got sick. That's the only thing I don't like about that. If you get your flu shot, chances are you'll be sick. And I can't afford that.
You don't get sick days?
Yeah, we get sick days, but I don't like to miss. Especially coming up, our son and his wife are getting ready to have their second boy in February, early February. Probably about 3 or 4 weeks away. And I'd like to go down, like for us to go down for the event, if possible. Whether that happens or not, we'll just have to see. It depends on the weather too.
Where's he live?
Nashville.
Oh.
Their other boy's Nash.
So this one's gonna be named Bill?
No, he's gonna be named Sawyer.
Oh. I should have named him Bill. So it's be
Bill, yeah, buddy.
Nash and Bill.
Bill and Bill. There's Nash.
Oh. Well, he likes cheese balls, don't he?
Daniel said he knows what life is all about. Hope your doors are vinyl and not fabric. You want to look like Trump's pillowcase if it is. Yeah, the planters has come back out with the cheese balls.
Here they come.
Thank you for your patience in allowing us to have that meeting. Delegations, we have a representative from HCEA. We have a representative from the Education Committee of the Hawkins County Commission. This time, Mr. Hickson, we're up for reports.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start with Mr. Cooper Bolton, Student Board Representative from Cherokee High School.
I'm Cooper Bolton, and I'm a senior at Cherokee, and I'm proud to share with you all what's going on at Cherokee. So this slide consists of a few of my favorite moments from this fall. I love participating in the high energy student section cheering on the Chiefs. Win or lose, it's always fun to spend Friday nights with my closest friends in Big Red Valley. From the band's powerful pregame performance to the spear being thrown into the ground, it's hard not to have a great time.
Is that you with your
That is not real. Yeah, not me.
It's taking the picture.
Yeah, not me. So Cherokee students have been as busy as ever, and it's hard to believe that we are already into the second semester of this year. As of right now, there are 12 members of Audit, which is Cherokee's 28 or better in the ACT Honors Club. By being in the club, that allows for more money on the Hope Scholarship, and it's universally classified as an honorable graduate. So you'll hear more about the academic nitpicks from Mr. Keener next month. On this picture, the left side is student council, and that is me sitting on the dog. This picture was taken at the annual student council meeting for the Northeast Tennessee High School Student Councils at University of Tennessee in Knoxville. So student council has been very busy updating vaping initiatives, organizing the march blood drives, and updating the student lounge with new furniture and school supplies. On the right is one of the more interesting clubs at Cherokee. It's the Sustainability Society. They care for their own bees, harvest the honey, and sell the honey. They also participate in gardening, permaculture, and they build raised bed gardens, solar wax melters, and rainwater collection systems. This next slide is of our culinary department, and they have been invited to and competed in the National Gingerbread Competition the last 3 years at the Omni Grove Park Inn in Asheville. They have placed in the top 10 2 of those years they've been invited. They also competed in the state junior chef competition several years in a row, and our culinary department is very popular among our students, and they do very well in the competitions. The vocational department at Cherokee is always busy. On this slide, you can see students doing hands-on training and practicing for a specific certification. Our vocational department ranges from health science classes to auto body, to industrial electricity, to landscaping, and more. The programs are designed for any student to complete a vocational focus, along with a dual enrollment or AP focus if the student desires. So it's very easy to balance your time between the both. Whether the certification is pharmacy tech, industrial electricity, OSHA 10, or clinical medical assistant, students are always busy making themselves more marketable to employers. These photos are from the Holston Electric Washington Youth Tour. Holston Electric this year sponsored 3 Cherokee students, 2 volunteer students, and 1 student from Morristown East. On this trip, we attended the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association's annual meeting in Washington, D.C., along with an extensive tour of the city. We got the opportunity to meet Tennessee's U.S. Senators, and along with our Congressman, Dr. Phil Rowe, on Capitol Hill. NJROTC has been very busy lately, participating in Veterans Day programs, Wreaths Across America, and the Canned Food Drive. Every fall, ROTC collects hundreds of cans to give to the Shepherd Center, and ROTC is always involved in community service, and they are an asset to several of Rogersville's community service projects. These are just a few of the accomplishments achieved by the Chiefs, and there's plenty more where this came from, but I'm only limited to a few of the highlights. This was just a brief update about some things happening at Cherokee, and I invite all of you all to come see all the things that I'm proud of, and I know you are proud of too. I'm honored that I get to represent the Chief family tonight. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Christian and board, I would like to make mention of something that Ms. Craddock mentioned during our moment of silence, and that is that we have lost several individuals within the school system and attached to the school system. Mr. Rob Brooks, 57-year driver of our system, died on Christmas Day, unfortunately. I would like to, if the board would allow me, to read an email that a staff member, Karen Begg, regarding him, and it is very well said, so I'd like to read it. I hope your family had a wonderful Christmas. I started working in Hawkins County in January of 1993. I was new to the area. One of the first faces I met was a bus driver by the name of Rob Brooks. Over the years, he was a constant hello/goodbye wave as I moved past. I moved to the road he lived on about 5 years after our first meeting. In a time before cell phones, mass call-outs, or the internet, he was my snow day man. I would watch the local news until the last possible second and start out to school. Many mornings there would be a lone figure at the end of my road. I would hear, "Teacher lady, no school, go back home." Once he would hear the news of no school on his CB, he would turn off his bus and wait. He was waiting to catch me just in case I did not know. He continued to do this for well over a decade. Rob had driven a bus for the county for over 57 years before he retired. He holds the state record. He was very proud to have hauled nearly 3, if not 4 generations of Hawkins County students before he retired. He passed away on Christmas Day at his home on Country Lane. He was a very good man. In addition to that, we unfortunately lost a student, Sean Cuevas Howard, at Cherokee High School. He was a student there and a member of NJROTC. I attended his memorial this past Saturday with several staff members and the entire, it seemed like, NJROTC group. It was great to see that they came out and continue to demonstrate that they are truly a family even in tough times. Eric Hughes, instructional assistant at Cherokee High School and soccer coach, passed away recently, as did Shannon Glass's father, Terry Glass, who is a longtime Hawkins County resident and community member. So I do echo Ms. Craddock's motion to honor them with a moment of silence as we did, and to continue to remember them in our thoughts and prayers as we move forward. Just a couple of items. I have been briefing the board on the flu. We have been dealing with the flu this first week back from the Christmas break. And I am pleased, at least at this point, that our students are holding their own at 93% for the week average overall. And staff is holding in there at 89 to 90%, closer to 90% as of today. I did participate, or staff participated on my behalf, on a Ballard Health conference call. And Ballard did recommend that if at all possible, schools keep their services open until we reach a point of high attendance concerns, or the health professionals in our school system are recommending that we look at other options. But at this point, we are able to maintain, and I do want to make a special thanks to our parents for really monitoring their students and keeping them at home if they're exhibiting the flu or flu symptoms, and that has greatly helped in us being able to deal with the students who are coming to school each and every day and keeping them healthy. We have a strategic plan that is expiring this year. To that end, I would like to recommend that we move forward with forming the committee for that strategic plan. One of the requests that I heard about when I first came to the county was that we hold stakeholder-specific group meetings so that student or stakeholders, for instance, that are in the industry or parents or whatever the stakeholder group is, each stakeholder meeting is pertinent to their interests and their desires, so that input is very specific and everybody has a chance to voice their opinion during those input sessions. So if it pleases the board, I would like to move forward and schedule the general meeting and specific stakeholder breakout groups. And I would like the board to decide on which of you would like to be representative of those different groups as we send out those calendar invites, and please get those names back to Jennifer if that works for you, so that we can get you included on those invites. Following that, we would obviously roll that plan back out to the stakeholders in a closing session, a bigger group, again, bringing everybody back together before bringing the plan back to the board for board approval. And lastly, water line to Clinch. We had discussed last month that you all wanted me to pursue some information regarding a possible permanent water line to Clinch School. I was very pleased to meet with Mr. Master Chief Tim Carwile of Lakeview Water District. He brought in several board members. He also brought in his engineer, several supervisors that work for him, as well as Sneedville and Churchville Water District members to provide input on the feasibility of us running a permanent line up Clinch Road to the school property. It would range in estimates somewhere between $2 to $3.5–4 million, just due to the terrain that we would encounter running that water line there. The water would be probably significantly old before we were able to draw from it. If you consider where it was being drawn from, and then time spent in that pipe before it gets to Clinch School, that is quite the time period, and so we would most likely have to treat it and retest it on our end if we were to go down and do a project like that. His best opinion, and those that were shared on the team, and again, I can't thank him enough, and those that came to the meeting for their input, his opinion was to encourage me to reach out to another individual that has a water treatment system that probably would work for Clinch and save a significant amount of money. And so if it pleases the board, I would like to pursue that and invite any board members, once I get that set up, to meet that individual up at Clinch and hear what his take is on some lower cost options for Clinch's water supply. So that's where we're at with that at this point. If you have any questions on the FLU, the strategic plan, or water line, those are more informational items, but wanted to bring everybody up to speed on those.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Is that all you have?
Or just the consent?
Okay. It's before the board for approval of the consent agenda, but before we do that, does anyone have any questions on any items on the consent agenda? Anything want to be discussed or pulled? On A, 1 through 3, B, 1 through 6, or C, 1 through 12. I just want to cover them all before we get into the budget process.
And I added a little bit of information on, let me look here. Item B, 10. B10, repair a broken exhaust valve spring on bus number 53. That is a relatively new bus. That price there does include a $9,000 credit from Cummins, the manufacturer of the engine, due to some ongoing issues we have had with that bus. Sorry, it is C10, I'm sorry. C10. So it does look like a lot of money to fix that particular motor, but it is basically going to be a new motor, and that does reflect a savings from Cummins, or credit from Cummins, to replace some of the what were deemed faulty parts. It is a relatively new bus, and it is significantly cheaper than buying a brand new bus, considering the rest of the bus is in great shape.
I have a comment on A3. We've probably covered this before, but I always like saying this: we are debt-free on our buses. We are able to purchase, if approved, 5 new 72-passenger buses, and it's going to be paid for. We're not carrying any debt.
Correct. Melissa and staff recommended that we pay that debt off last year, and we were able to do that before June 30th.
Good job. I like that. Holding to pay for these buses, and we got new equipment for our children. It's very important for us. So if nobody has any issues with any A, B, or C, 1 through 3, 1 through 6 on B, or C, 1 through 12, I will take a motion for approval of consent agenda A. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further debate? No debate? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. That moves us to consent agenda B. We'll have a motion.
Oh, we did them all.
That was just A.
That was just A.
Just
Oh,
A.
sorry.
Make a motion, we approve B and C.
We have a motion.
So, second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
What was the motion?
B and C.
B and C.
No further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
One opposed. Motion carries. That brings us to Unfinished business. A, approval to allow Clint School to remain on a 4-day school schedule until February 13th, 2020. Executive committee approval granted December the 19th, 2019. I'd like to go ahead and take a vote on that, just for the record. I will make a motion in that form that states approval to allow Clint School to remain on a 4-day school schedule until February 13th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further debate?
Can you, go into detail as to why we're extending it?
We wasn't sure on the condition of the roads.
What is the condition of the road? Is it open, 2
I
lanes?
I do not have any current updates.
They are open at the very end of the, Brandon, do you remember which route? There you go. Which route? 70? 70 is down to 1 lane at the very end of the road there, yeah.
What is significant about February 13th?
That's just our next board meeting, so we were looking for an extension of a month before, so that we had time to determine the condition of the road and make sure they were both open and not affecting traffic.
And then we can take the action at the next board meeting without having to do an executive approval or a special call meeting.
Thank you.
And Ms. Denise McKee will be here in February to give a report on staff and how they reacted to the 4-day work week as well as students.
There's going to be a motion to go to 4-day work week.
Yes.
I think it's a mixed bag right now between the staff, yeah.
Okay.
Advantages and some disadvantages to it.
Saw Sweeten's doing that, so.
It'll be some interesting data that we get. It really is. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? With no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Item B is approval of Trane service agreement for building automation system at Cherokee High, Hawkins County Central Office, Joseph Rogers Primary, Mooresburg Elementary, St. Clair Elementary, Seguinsville Middle, and Volunteer High School, October 1, 2019 through September 30, 2020, $16,015. 3% discount with full payment. Trane representative in attendance for questions. Any board members have any questions? With no questions, it's before the board to entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further debate? With no further debate, Ms. Jennifer, take the roll.
Charles,
Yes.
Christian,
No.
Pratt,
No.
Hicks,
No.
Larkins, Tenn,
Yes.
3.
Motion fails. Item C, Trane Energy and Operational Cost Analysis, Trane representative in attendance for questions. Trane and Excel Energy representatives in attendance for questions. Any board members have any questions?
I would like to clarify that Excel Energy is heading up the LED light replacement, and that will generate a savings of roughly $300,000 a year that would potentially be used to pay for an upgrade at both Cherokee and Volunteer HVAC systems.
What's our initial cost, our upfront cost with this?
Excel Energy,
Yes.
0.
Trane Energy and operational cost analysis, what are they gonna, what kind of feedback we wanna get?
That was the proposal where they do a cost analysis by site based on equipment, based on square footage, based on needs of movement of air, anything that resembles or works off of the HVAC systems. they're here. They can give you specifics of what would be involved in that cost analysis, but it would be our intent, and why it was recommended is because we would use that cost analysis to then have a figure in place for what needs to be done at two of our bigger and most antiquated HVAC systems, that being at Cherokee and Volunteer High School.
And with this cost analysis, are we tied into Trane to do the work that is requested?
Yes, we are.
Without the bidding process?
Their price is reflective of piggybackable or contract bids that are out there across the system that have been done in other systems. So it does suffice for meeting those requirements.
What would it cost to get an independent analysis?
I don't know that I can answer that. I can tell you that the Trane representatives that are here have a presentation that they prepared for the board if you'd be willing to indulge them.
I have one more question before we hear this report. Changing the lights. Is that something we can do in-house?
Not with our current staff, I don't believe we could. There are fixtures that need to be replaced. There are, it's not just a bulb to bulb replacement. There are ballasts, there are systems, and if we look at a system-wide changeover at this magnitude, it would not be my recommendation to move forward with our in-house staff doing such a project.
And you've seen the savings,
Yes,
you've seen the math.
yes, I have.
The board want to hear a report from Trane?
I will.
Okay, if you could come up and please give us a report, please.
You all sit over here, so if they have questions, they don't have to look around for you. Okay. Okay. Hello, I'm Kathy Cox. I'm with Trane. I didn't mean to yell at you. Before I start our presentation, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Scott Slusher. He is with the state of Tennessee, the ESI program. He is not affiliated with Trane at all. I want to make that very clear. But we asked him to be here because we worked step and hand in hand with him on all our energy performance contracting projects. So I asked him to come and talk for a short amount of time. I'll cut him off if he goes too long. And then we just had a very short presentation for him. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Good evening, my name is Scott Slusher. I'm with the state of Tennessee, the Energy Efficient Schools Initiative. Hawkins County, I believe you guys have done a project previously utilizing our funding mechanism. For those that are not aware who EESI, the Energy Efficient Schools Initiative is we were founded in 2008 with excess lottery funds. And our primary focus is to improve the classroom learning environment across the state of Tennessee. We do that through technical assistance. So we have engineers on staff that review projects like they'll be seeing tonight. So not only Trane's engineers will be reviewing the project, but if you utilize EESI funds, our engineering staff will review it. And we're really the independent third-party evaluator of all the projects. And in our statute, with our funding, the primary goal, one, improve the classroom learning environment. But by law, we cannot indebt a school district. And so we have the funding mechanisms. We've done performance contract-wide, we've done over $120 million across the state utilizing the PC model. That's about 90% of all our funding has gone to projects that have been funded or have been gone through the performance contracting. So I'm not here as a representative of Trane. I'm here to offer our funding and our technical assistance and our engineering assistance to Hawkins County Schools. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have regarding funding of these projects and what EESI can offer to your school district. Interest rates, thank you very much, Debbie. So EESI, we have two tiers. Our first tier is $0 to $3 million. Our interest rate is 1.5%. If we go anything over $3 million, our cap is at $5 million. Whatever over $3 million goes at 2%. So if you're looking to go into the bond market, you're probably somewhere 2.5% to 2.75% is what the bond market currently is at. Our thing is to come in with low cost, low interest on the loans. And the best way to look at EESI, you don't have to go to your tax base. You're really utilizing EESI's credit card to pay for the project. The savings that will be guaranteed through a performance contract will go to repay the loan over a certain term.
Was there an initiative, and you might have to help me with this, called T4 fluorescent lighting several years ago? We converted over to that.
So at Hawkins, you went from T12 to T8. Okay. And I can't remember the exact, I believe it was 2015, 2016, where we converted. That's when the big push was to move from T12, which were very inefficient, to the efficient light bulb at the time to the T8s. And now LED, the prices have come down into LED, that it's time to switch over and start that savings now.
Did I understand it would require new fixtures or just new ballast or just new bulbs?
So I have not done a walkthrough of the school district, so I'm not sure what the presentation, I know the trained representatives here can speak to your school. I know in the past it was moved from T12 to T8. As far as what's required here, sometimes you need new fixtures. I would have to walk through the school, but I believe Trane's already done that.
Is this district-wide or is this targeting certain schools?
District-wide.
District-wide.
Across the state, what have you seen school districts doing?
As far as projects
As far as
or
projects.
dollar savings?
Both,
Oh.
both.
Okay, across the board, I mean, lighting is your number one thing, HVAC is second, and then controls. So automating the process to make sure your lights are off when they're supposed to be off, that the temperatures of the buildings are at set points or at the right temperature. So if no one's in school or you have a snow day, let's ramp the building down so we can save the energy. There's no sense in heating or cooling a building if school's not in session. So those are the top three. Water projects, so water savings, wastewater savings. Those are some of the largest projects that go along. Across the board, this is going to be a wide gap. I can't really pinpoint exact savings, but typically on projects you see anywhere from 18 to 25% savings on a project.
Are the majority of the districts utilizing EESI's initiative?
So EESI, total, out of the $90 million that we originally allocated, all but 2 counties have not participated in EESI. In our loan program, just over 50% of the school districts across the state are currently or have used EESI funds.
What's the term of the loan?
The maximum years is 16, up to 16. We prefer staying in the average is around 9 to 12, but we will go up to 16 years if the energy savings show that it can be done.
And you think these savings will make the payment?
Yeah, they have to. That's the guarantee that you're getting. Well, I'll let Trane speak to their project. On performance contracts with a guarantee that we've seen, we always have to meet it, because if the shortfall is there and they don't meet it, then in the performance contracts with a guarantee, we'll make up that difference.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So with me this evening are several associates. Mr. Lenny Kolstad, he's an energy engineer, and he has walked through schools. And John Williams, who would not come up, he lives here in Hawkins County. And then Glenn Johnson, who I think you all are familiar with, he also lives here in Hawkins County. So Lenny is going to speak in just a moment, but I had prepared a very short slide deck. I will try and go as quickly as possible and keep you engaged. I know everybody's getting hungry, so, but I just wanted to touch briefly on EPC, what it is, why you should think about it, who's done it, and then Lenny has prepared preliminary savings for you to look at, and then what could happen next. So I want to really slow down and talk about what exactly energy performance contracting is. ECMs are called energy conservation measures. They're lighting, water, building envelope, controls optimization, anything that has immediate energy savings tied to it. Those are ECMs. And then you have facility improvement measures, your heavy metal, your HVAC, your rooftop units, your ductwork, everything that you usually put in a capital improvement project but you don't have money to pay for. And then the guarantee. I think this is where confusion comes in over performance contracting. What is a guarantee and how do we do it? We guarantee the number of units of energy being reduced. We don't guarantee a dollar amount, but no one really likes to hear 1,000 kWh. That's what you reduce to. Most people want to equate it to energy savings in dollars. Like $300,000 in energy savings sure sounds a whole lot better than 150,000 kWh. So we equate it to energy savings in dollars, but what we guarantee are units. That makes a great successful EPC project when you put your ECMs with your FEMs. And we never recommend that you just do your ECMs, just your energy, your low-hanging fruit, because what we see happen is once you realize that energy savings and you don't do the heavy metal with it, we see counties come back and say, okay, we can now lower your utility budget because you're not spending as much. So we like to couple the two together so the school board controls where that energy savings is spent. So if you have funding available for every improvement that you need, it's probably not the best idea to do EPC. And what we see of every K-12 school division is they're trying to squeeze as much out as they possibly can and put it into instruction and put it in the classroom. So we don't see utility costs going down anytime soon, and everybody wants to save money. So what we heard from Hawkins County was you all have some projects outlined, capital improvement projects. And so that's what we want to focus on. How much energy savings can we create so that you can do some of your improvements? Just to recap on what Scott said, these are just Trane projects. If we took the whole state map, you all would be surrounded by all those who have done EPC. But we have been in the energy performance contracting business for about 25 years now. We always want you to reach out to your peers and say, hey, how did this go? And the North City Schools, we have the case study for that. They just recently did their performance contract, and they started out by saying this can't be true, this sounds way too good to be true. And now Dr. Barker is a reference for us and loves to talk about her performance contract. We also have Knox County Schools, which was over $100 million without one single increase in taxpayer dollars. And Mike Ragsdale, you won't stop talking about it, but we offer any of our references. Anyone that we've done a project for is a reference for us. So we do a whole lot more than just energy savings. We want to help in the classroom too. We have the BTU crew. It's a program where students and faculty can get involved and really promote the sustainability aspect of the energy savings project. And we also have curriculum tied to your STEM program, and then we can do energy dashboards on your website for each school, and there can be competitions, which we've done in the past. I'm going to now turn it over to Lenny, who's our energy engineer, and he's going to present the savings to the state.
So we looked at the utility costs for the buildings in scope, 19 schools. In 2018, the utility costs were approximately $1.6 billion. Based on my experience with performance contracting, you can generally save between 15 and 25%. So the numbers you'll see in those green sections, that represents
an approximate low and high bound for the savings. I'll talk a bit about a few of the typical energy conservation measures we conduct, and if selected for the audit, we'll evaluate more measures. HVAC upgrades. The nice thing about performance contracting is you can couple these the HVAC measures are generally longer payback. You can couple those with shorter payback measures, which is items 2 through 5 here. So we did look at the 2 high schools, Volunteer and Cherokee, and toured the sites. Some of the feedback we heard, ductwork is in bad shape in spots. New units, rooftop units are needed. So we want to take a comprehensive look at these options for HVAC replacements, including making sure we're bringing in the required amount of outdoor air. So moving on to some of the other measures, lighting is probably the most popular low-hanging fruit. So we're partners with Excel Energy. We've done several projects with them throughout the state. And with LEDs, they save energy, and they're also longer lasting than your fluorescent bulbs. So you get those operational savings as well. Controls optimization refers to controlling your heating and air conditioning equipment to save energy. And several of the schools are already on Trane controls, which makes it easy for us to make some of these adjustments. Here's a screenshot of Cherokee High School's a few temperature and set points. And this we can view remotely. So we can, if selected for a performance contract, we'd like to work with you to decide what the most appropriate set points are. Comfort comes first, but we want to, if we can save energy in the process, that'd be great. And again, this is Cherokee High School, this time looking at the equipment schedules. Again, we want to work with you to align equipment run times with when students and faculty are in the buildings. Again, to save energy. So moving on to, in addition to saving energy, we can save water for the school district. We often install low-flow flush valves for urinals and toilets, install aerators for faucets. And finally, building envelope. This refers to reducing air infiltration and exfiltration in buildings. So some of the measures we undertake here, caulking windows, installing door sweeps, adding insulation. Just wanted to touch briefly on intelligent services. This is an offering where it's more sophisticated data analytics. We can look closely at units, making sure fans are running, compressors are running appropriately to both save energy and operational costs as well. And here's another offering through Intelligent Services. This is an energy and sustainability dashboard. So we can, behind the scenes, we're bringing in utility data, and you can display that energy consumption on a dashboard. It can be on the school's website, mobile devices. We can put kiosks in a school to display it locally. And you can see related carbon metrics, sustainability metrics as well. So if we do a project after that, we want to make sure we're guaranteeing, we want to make sure the savings meet our guarantee. So we call this measurement and verification for M&V. And there are a few different methods we can choose to make sure we're meeting our guarantee. We'll work closely with you as well as Scott to make sure what we do is meeting the programs, the requirements of the ESI. And at the end of each year, we'll be providing a report, presenting it to show how savings matched up with the guarantee. And this is a sample report from another customer of ours. So I'll turn it back over to Kathy.
And I'll sum this up very quickly. So what do you get in a detailed technical audit? You're asking, that's what we're asking tonight, to be very specific. We're asking to be able to gather the data so that you all can make informed decisions. You'll hear me say it over and over, let the data drive the decision. This is exactly what we'll bring back to you, broken down by high school, what we see can be done in each one of the schools, what the annual savings would be, and what the one-time cost to do it would be, and what the simple payback is. And we do that for every single school, So you get to pick and choose what project is absolutely the best for Hawkins County. That's what really works. You get to see how much savings is for each measure, and if you want to include that in your project, or you don't want to include that in your project. But this is basically exactly what the detailed technical audit does, and everything is quoted cost, and that's what, when we come to this point, we get to decide, should we move forward with an energy performance contract or not? At this point, we're just asking you to let us gather the data.
Have you had a project where you did not meet your objective benchmarks, and how did that work? Did you go back and make changes, alterations, or what did you do?
Yes, so twice in my personal experience, we did not make the first year, so we wrote a check for $248, and then because we did not do the controls in time. We missed our deadline of doing the controls. So we were late, and we couldn't make up with it for the time that we had. And the other was at a behavioral health. We missed it by a lot, so we had to write a check for about $50,000. And in Knox County, the first year we did it, we wrote a check for $100,000.
On the other side of the coin, when the savings projected exceeds your expectations, do your facilities just take that money in excess and turn around and put it towards another project?
That's your money. The savings, how much, if it's above, you spend that any way if you want, but we don't have any type of tie to that excess money. We just want to make sure every year we measure and verify that we've saved you an amount that we originally said. So yes, and that's what we work with Scott's group they oversee basically their oversight committee, make sure that happens. Anything over that, which in most of my projects, except for the ones I mentioned, we were well above what we had guaranteed. So we want a happy customer. We want everyone to be a reference for us.
So with your guarantee, if we don't meet the savings, you write us the check for the difference?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
And we've done it 3 times that I have been involved with.
Is 15% projected savings minimum, or will it?
That we don't know yet. That's why we're asking to do the actual detailed technical study, and whether it's the 15, the 25, or more. We just listed a few up there. We didn't want to bore you to death, but we look at so much rate structure. There's a ton of different energy savings measures, excuse me, that we can put in place.
Savings could be less than 15%.
It could be. It could be less, but in our experience and with what we know after looking at the audit, we're in partnership with Excel, seeing what they did. Yes, we believe it'll be well in excess of 15. You're welcome.
Trane doesn't, I want to talk about the energy and operational cost analysis. Excel is not part of that.
They're our partner.
But I think the question.
So typically what happens is we have several lighting partners. In this case, we partnered with Excel, and they do an audit and we do an audit. And so we look at their audit and we say, okay, what are we willing to guarantee in that audit? And then we put them together.
Okay.
So we typically don't do just a lighting audit. If you're going to just take the low-hanging fruit, we'd suggest you look at all the low-hanging fruit, especially controls. If you're looking for a very quick payback, controls is always the lowest cost, highest payback immediately.
I'm just trying to get it completely
Yes, sir.
clear. Excel is going to, for the lighting project, we can get loans. Right? Okay, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Wentz, now, we used Excel before, no, the EESI is what.
EESI, so we can get EESI funding for any of these projects, including the entire scope of what Trane is talking about. for lighting, for controls, for water measures, as well as for HVAC and ductwork. All of that falls under the umbrella of what EESI will issue low-interest loans for. It's the same, the last EESI project that I presented to you, we did, didn't have anything to do with lighting. It was all HVAC and automation or building controls.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that was very successful for us.
It was.
Okay.
I assume you all contract on the water supply with another company, just like Excel, but they'll specialize in plumbing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. We have partners that we have agreements with where we work with them on a very regular basis and trusted. They have to meet the bond performance and safety is, you have to qualify to be a contractor with Trane. And we use as much local labor as we can. But anything HVAC, we're able to do in-house. Anything with controls with HVAC, and if we can do it in-house, we will.
One more question.
Yes, sir. You can ask me as many you want.
No.
Okay.
Would it be possible, the board, help me out here, can we split this into two areas, like do the Trane and Excel Energy for the lighting, and then do the operational costs separately?
I'm not sure what you mean by operational cost.
Yeah.
The analysis, I think is what he's talking about.
It's included, their audit will be included, we'll have to go back through,
I
and.
mean, can we just do a light audit, the lighting audit, and,
You can, but I would wonder why you would just wanna do lighting.
well, here's my question. Because we've talked about this quite a bit, and I like your presentation, don't get me wrong, I'm just trying to get the final points. Previously, we were quoted $138,000
Yes, sir.
for this operational performance, but if we do what you say,
Yes, sir.
I'm going from memory here, and
It's behind you on the screen.
we spend over $1 million,
Yes,
that $138,000 goes into
yes, sir.
that.
Yes, because we're not asking you to come up with any upfront costs. It's the same with performance contracting. You don't have to come up with any upfront costs. Scott backed me up on that. There's no upfront cost when they use the EESI.
When you utilize EESI funds, you will use EESI funds for the project. So whatever, at the end of the day, once we get through the audit, the investment grade audit, get down, you need to go to the mic. No, you're good. So anytime we have, at the end of the day, you'll be using EESI funds for this project. It's a reimbursement loan program, and so you'll work with Trane. They'll begin doing the project. They'll submit invoices to the county. The county will submit those to us, and then we're partners with the comptroller. So our funds come from the comptroller's office, back to the county, back to the school district. So you're not taking any money out of your coffers. We're going to use the savings that's generated from this project, so you're budgeting exactly how you budget now, utilizing the savings from that to repay the loan.
Okay, I'm good.
I have a question. The 90 million that you mentioned,
Yes, ma'am.
where are you now where are you in that 90 million that you have to distribute to loan to schools?
So we're a revolving loan fund, so we always have money coming back in. Right now, about 95% of the money is working in school districts across the state. So we generate, right now we're right around $750,000 a month come back from these loans and savings from other schools that come back in to hopefully fund the project here. So we just take the money, put it right back out. And one little plug for ESI, for those that, we have not used one single penny of that original $90 million allocation to pay for my salary or any of the 3-person staff. 100% of the funds have gone directly into Tennessee schools.
So we can get $90 million.
We can do it in phases. Our cap per loan is $5 million, but in all honesty, Rutherford County, they've done several loans with us, so we cap the loan, each individual loan at $5 million to make sure we spread it out across the state. But in the case of Rutherford County, we've had multiple loans where it may have been 3 million one year, the next year in the next phase, they've done a few million more. So we actually go up above 5 million with school districts, but we just have to phase it in. I just can't give you the 90 million right away, but we'll do it over a few years.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Board, any more questions?
I have another question. Projects of this magnitude requires an engineer to give their blessing as well. Is that included in this? Is that what he is?
Yes, sir. And if you'll look how we structured it, it's 12 cents a square foot for the high schools because that's your greatest need of analyzing the HVAC there. So what this pays for is engineered drawings so that we can give you an exact amount of what it will cost to do the construction. So you're seeing engineering, it's just like professional services, the state contracts treats us as professional services, architect and engineering. And that's Lenny and Craig Washburn.
So we won't need to go out and subcontract engineers and architects?
No, it's all, that's what you're paying for in this.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Car warranty. Car warranty. Cable company.
It's before the board for a motion for the Trane Energy and Operational Cost Analysis and the Trane and Excel Energy projects.
Ready for a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to move that we proceed with the Trane Energy and Operational Cost Analysis with Trane represented in attendance, and the Excel Energy representatives to perform our analysis for us.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, Ms. Jennifer, call the roll.
Shedden,
Yes.
Larkins,
Yes.
Hicks,
Yes.
Craddock,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Thank you. That brings us to,
Thank you all. Thank you.
that brings us to new business. If it pleases the board, I would like to put together a surplus real estate committee. I know we've been through this before, but we still have some stagnant properties. And I would like to ask Ms. Kathy Craddock, since she's a realtor, to work with someone from our maintenance staff to identify the properties that we have as surplus and bring back some estimates of property values, some suggestions of what we may do with those properties. And any board member that would like to assist and be on this committee, I would welcome that. Anyone want to be part of that?
I'll volunteer if she needs help.
Okay.
No, could help if she needs all that,
But you accept it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions about that? If none, we'll move on. I would like to do a board workshop sometime in March. Don't have a date nor a location. Give ample notice, and I'll be contacting each board member to make sure that the date fits everyone. But I would like for each board member to be thinking of an agenda item or a topic they would like to discuss just amongst the board members, and send that to Ms. Jennifer at your leisure before March. Item C is approval of overnight and out-of-state field trips. CHS band 10 students to Tennessee Tech Festival of Winds and Percussion, Cookeville, Tennessee, Thursday, February 13th, 2020, from 6 p.m. through Saturday, February 15th, 2020, at 10 p.m. Board's open for a motion. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further debate? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Approval, item D, approval of memorandum of understanding between Hawkins County Board of Education and HCEA, the Hawkins County Education Association, regarding the school calendar committee.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further debate? None, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed. I believe that's it. Does anyone have any comments or questions before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
The next thing. The Hawkins County.